Howdy, gang. Coach Joe, Doc Danny, other guy in the room, the other really smart guy in the room, Dr. Andy Galpin. Andy, fire up to have you on the show, bud. We've had that. A funny thing too, I've had a weightlifter, a gentleman named Rob Hoffman, who's always been on me about it. He's a guy that I train, and you come highly recommended, Andy. I'm glad we could get onto this and do it. But before we get into strength and conditioning, I recently moved to Tacoma. I know you grew up in this area. So before I've already done blueberry picking, which supposedly you did when you were a kiddo. But real quick, just give our audience just about what this area is like. It's beautiful. Mount Rainier's always in the background. But before I leave here in 3 years, something I need to eat and somewhere I need to go that's off the beaten path. Can you hook me up? Yep. Okay. Okay. Nice. Love it. Fire it up, dude. Efficient, easy, and actionable. That's what we're trying to do here. Fire it up, bro. That was great. What? Yeah, that's right. We didn't go that route. We actually went out to like a little hippie kind of blueberry patch farm, and the kids were just running around. We pretty much had free reign. We literally picked like 8 pounds of blueberries. I froze a bunch of them, threw them in my shake. And the funny thing was, after we kind of picked through them, there were inchworms in a bunch of them, and I didn't quite know how I felt about it because I was eating the heck out of them. And I think I froze a bunch of them. If I saw three, I can only imagine how many there really were in it, but I got over it, had a good time. I still have some. It's this area is unbelievable, and even being out here, we've driven. I've gone out to Bozeman once already. I'm driving all around. I don't think people get the mountains that are out here until they actually see them. I mean, my mom lives in Virginia right now. I have a family in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and they're like, we've seen mountains, and I don't think they get it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Completely different. I mean, Eastern's like a desert, kind of. Hmm. Hmm. Is that out by Crystal Mountain? Because when we did the road trip up, we drove through Crystal Mountain, through Yakima, and then up into Seattle. Okay, fired up. No, it's a beautiful area. Anyone, yeah, get your ass out here. I mean, there's lots of things to see, lots of things to do, especially if you're an outdoorsman. I mean, so check it out. Yeah, we're in it now. Well, and that's what in my limited experience with the locals here, the people who've grown up here, not implants. That's what they've said. Like the rain's what you deal with. The rain's just part of the year. If you get out, there's nothing you can't do. You just need to deal with it. I mean, it is what it is. So, well, Andy's on the show. We jumped right into the topic, and without giving someone your resume with this, I thought a cool way to intro you to the audience would be to ask you a question. And when I was looking at your bio, Andy, you seem to make it a point to call yourself more of a storyteller than a scientist, and I thought that was super interesting. Can you kind of go into why you make that distinction with what you're doing, and then I think that'd be a great segue into the topic of the day. Yep. Well, it got me because even as a coach, like I was talking, I'm gonna take up a PE class where my kids go to school, right? Just so I can be around, and I'm just trying to talk to them about it, and it's not so much about making the kids fitter, but trying to unlock what they like about fitness so they can do it, right? So you seem to make this interesting distinction in what you're doing, and it captivated me because you listen to your content, you are a scientist. I mean, you do great work, but you're also trying to get the other end of it out there. So, no, it was an intriguing thing, and you're a smart guy doing cool stuff. So, no, I'm super interested in the answer to that. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Love it. So when you talk about inspiring and engaging people, I mean, you've been involved in podcasting. You've recently done one of the bigger ones ever. But with that said, this type of a format where you can get three relatively like-minded guys on to kind of talk stories and go through it, has that affected your ability to get folks listening to you? Yeah, yeah, that helps. Hmm. That's it. Well, I think what you're speaking on there is this in the beginning where you overcoach, right? You overcoach, you're trying to overprove and you're trying to get done, and then you kind of settle in, and then you go inward a little bit and try and develop all these tools to coach people, and then all of a sudden you're not overcoaching, you have all these tools, and then you come to find out, well, actually, I don't need all these tools. I need to figure out who this person is and just deliver the information as simply and efficiently as possible. And I feel like this your route on with your book and this idea of empathy, they're great routes to go in there that in that direction. A coach who's kind of in that labyrinth of figuring it out right now, which I think we're always in it to some degree, right? But maybe it's that new coach who is just out of their field. They have a ton of content they want to get to people. What's the first step to becoming able to have more empathy, to know more about how your information is being received by an athlete? Yeah. That's right. I you bring up HRV, which is interesting, and we've talked about it not at big length, but I think it would highlight the kind of the quandary involved with this because yeah, it might look good, but then also you bring into this idea that well, certain people can actually handle being at different heart rates at different times, and it's when you dive into it from an individual basis, it seems like that data it's not it's hard to standardize. Has anything come out regarding that in your mind for best practices regarding HRV in a large group setting or something that can be scalable to those large masses that you just discussed? I'll do that. That's right. Go for it. Well, it would seem to me then that regarding any technology, HRV, whatever it is, the coach and the athlete would have to, before implementing it, would have to ask the question. And you just alluded to it: is this technology in place to optimize the athlete's training or to force the adaptation? Do you think that this is a question that needs to be thought of more regarding all coaches, all athletes? Okay. Hmm. That's right. So you'll be playing catch up, right? It's kind of like, I mean, I remember when I was a young parent or about to be one, an old grandmother said to me, "Joe, I can see you struggling with what's about to happen, but let me give you some advice. That kid needs to fit into your life because every month to 90 days it's going to change. You need to keep it safe, you need to keep it happy, but integrate that baby into your life because if you flip your script every day to fit their needs, they're going to change, right? Keep it safe, keep it happy, keep it fed, love the child, but if you want to train with your kid, if you want to vacuum with the kid, doing this thing, set the schedule and make that child adapt to you. And it's something that made sense to me in that regard. And that was good advice. To me, that's kind of saying you, rather than try to adapt your coaching to the current trends in technology, you probably need to adapt your coaching to what's going on with humans because at the end of the day, the human's still going to be there. Hmm. Yeah, that's right. Uh oh. Yeah, that's right. Well, Danny, I say grown up Italian. My can probably had spaghetti in it. What do you think? So we'll make that analogy for that one. But no, that makes perfect sense. Well, and it's probably better than me putting my wife on blast, which I've gotten in trouble recently. Thank you, Danny. Thank you. Andy, I don't want to interrupt you. Danny, are we talking to anyone in particular? Are we talking about are we talking about any what do they call the trainers of the Marines? Are we talking to those guys? Who are we talking to here? Uh, okay, all of them. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, you bring up a rule there about not paying attention to Trump news, and within that conversation, we're also kind of Sure, that's right. So with that said, and we're also talking about we're speculating a little bit about having the phone in our face. So with that said, do you mind speculating a bit on the theme of it's probably in the book, but this idea of what we can do to if we are interested in being proactive about combating this, if we were thinking, I don't want to wait for the research to tell me that that's bad to be in my face. I want to engage in some practices now that are going to be in contrast to that phone to fight them or fight technology. Do you have any recommendations in that regard? Hmm. There you go. Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I love it. And for example, I'll talk about my own thing. I'm trying to really work hard to limit technology at night. So and kind of go with the ways of the sunlight. And I'm really good at it, except for right now on Sunday night. And the issue with but the issue with no, we won't talk about it. We won't talk about it. Yeah, yeah, we won't talk about it. If you, we won't even speculate on the show. But yeah, I will. No, no, but that's the point. What I want to say too, though, is it can be a slippery slope. But for me, that bit of enjoyment I'll get on that particular evening with that particular experience, it's fun. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to speculate with. So to what degree do you think that there's some latitude in tinkering with it? The same where when you're doing, is it like that 80-20 rule that most people apply to diet, something like that? Sure, gotcha. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Well, I think with the fasting, in my experience, I've done a couple long ones. You got to get through the first 2 days. Just do that, and I think you'll cruise. But the last question for me is in regards to your old passion while you were in college. I imagine if you played Division III football, which I think to this day is really the 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 student athlete. I think the Division One guys have it a little bit easier. I think that in a traditional sense, a Division Three athlete, like, that's exactly right. I love it. I love it. We're on it, and we make beautiful babies and have great anything. Oh yes, no, great. I'm glad that there's proof on that. But along with Division III football, you have this. You've weightlifted as well. I love weightlifting, and you tinker around with the martial arts. And we had a cool conversation with Rob Wilson, one of Brian's co-workers and coaches over at Power Speed Endurance. But this idea of people who want to, it seems like there's a trend where people want to flirt with mixed martial arts. They want to play with it. And a guy like me, I'm not particularly interested in grappling and getting into it, but I would like to experience some drill work and some light rolling, but not that's going to be to the detriment of weightlifting. For someone like that who is just interested, do you have a recommendation for kind of playing with the sport? Who just wants to kind of flirt? Well, I want to take martial arts for a date. I don't know if I want to get into it. You can only be a little bit pregnant? Is that what you're saying? I got you. Yeah. Got it. Hmm. That's different. Okay. Love the answer. Thank you. Hmm. I love you pseudo killed me. Well, hopefully that we've done more than pseudo blow people's minds. I think this was a fun chat for everybody. I think I think we're right on the same page from the beginning of this podcast. It's been this idea of train smarter, not harder, and take the tools from athletes and doctors and practitioners to make a deposit in your life through training, not just always withdrawing. So I think you've added to that conversation quite a bit, and I hope folks are listening can go out and check out your book. But if they need a little bit more, and if they want to find out more about you, Andy, what's the best place for folks to reach out to you and just maybe even start their own dialogue? Oh, thank you for the compliment. We didn't know we were proper either. I'll take that. Yeah, thank you. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Oh, awesome. Hmm. Sure. Oh, I love it. So, folks, if you like what Andy's saying, you can go get more at his dang website. And if you want the production value upped on his Body of Knowledge podcast, I imagine buying the book's going to help. Can we say it? Yeah. Okay, but we'll work that out for you. But sweet. Well, Andy, I was going to say this was excellent. This was fun. I hope we can have you back on as you guys do more stuff. I'll try to come up with another question to open the show as good as my last one. Now, Yeah, probably, and yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. Well, I'll see what I can do. I thought I did the same thing with my wife, but she keeps jumping in bed with me, so we're working that out. But yeah, for now. But hey, folks, that was Andy Galpin trying to get you unplugged. I'm Coach Joe. The other guy's Doc Danny, and guys, this was a great episode of the Doc and Jock podcast, proving folks that if you have a body. Andy, buddy, that was really fun, man. I appreciate you. I know we had some hiccups in the beginning getting it going, but well worth the wait. Thank you. The one question would be is we can help you with the release of this. Do you have dates on that contest? We'd love to help you out any way we can. Okay. Well, let's do it. We'll be in contact. We'll jump a couple people. We'll do it. We'll put this out next Monday if it helps you guys out. We'd love to be a part of that in any way we can. So we'll tag you in what we do, and we'll tell people to listen and get the damn book. All right, brother, and I'm going to tell Joel that Andy sent me. I'm going to call him up. Is that okay? All right, buddy. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot, pal. Sweet. I'm going to do it. All right, Andy. Get back to work, and thanks a lot again.